Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show today for the 22nd of March. We've got a nice live shot of San Francisco Bay, a couple sail GP boats out there in their practice day number, 2. They practiced yesterday, maybe the day before. Today, tomorrow, Thursday, and then final practice on Friday before racing Saturday and Sunday. Got a great show for you again today, number 507. Mark Thompson's checking in. Blake Middleton, Stingray, Gordon Smith in Denmark. Thompson's in Banderas Bay, Mexico, where Mexorc ends tomorrow, and the International Banderas Regatta, Bay Regatta starts. Nice. Christopher Gillingham, as usual, in Leamington. Homchick Ross, Fritz Mueller, Bill Haynes. Julie Ahrens in cloudy Cleveland. Baton Rouge on the East Coast. Wet Hog from Annapolis. And let's get this one. Well and truly. Docked out. Is that docked out? I think we can go back to that shot right from the webcam, right out front there of St. Francis. Obviously, the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. It's not that breezy yet, and we have seen, however, a couple of Sail GP boats out there, as I mentioned a moment ago. Welcome to TFE Live, number 507 for Tuesday, the 22nd of March, 2022. Sail GP week here in San Francisco. Delighted to have you with us. Delighted to have my co-host, supervising producer, Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club, and all-around good gal who we celebrated your birthday on Friday. Did you carry on Friday night?
Oh, yes.
Through the weekend?
Mm-hmm. As one should.
As one should. We're live, of course, from Studio B here at the Beach Street Yacht Club, as usual. Some of you may even pass through here on the weekend. We're delighted to have any of the FOSI who will be in San Francisco. Let us know if you're going to be here. Send me a text or send me something via, even if you've already told me, just confirm via Facebook Messenger or something, right, Julia?
Yeah.
So that we know we are planning something, but we'll tell you in due course via text. We don't want to say it here on the air. I'm your host, Tom Eamon. Thank you for joining us. Let's get into the starting line. This nice picture, people are, again, asking me where that's from. That is from the Lake Champlain. I'm thinking I got champagne on the brain. Champlain Yacht Club up in Vermont, established 1887, one of the oldest clubs in the country. Thanks to Dougal Henschel, who was with us last Friday. It was a fun show, very informative guy, and he's writing his book now in the International 505 class, The Story of the 505, Simply the Best. And he was fascinating, wasn't he, Julia?
He was, and just full of information.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Delighted to have him. Dougal Henschel, the fabulous International 505. As I say, he's writing a book. He's written a couple others, too, about a couple of the other classes. It should be terrific. Looking forward to it. Since Friday, it has we've had the March equinox, vernal equinox here in the U.S. and the rest of the northern hemisphere. The autumnal equinox, if you're south of the equator. It's springtime up here. Julia's in green. I'm in a green something, dark green blazer, in honor of our spring. And it's nice to have not really spring weather here. It's the same old weather we have year round, 60 degrees.
Except today is going to be warmer, and tomorrow, but then it'll be back to 60.
It's warm here in the studio.
It'll be 70 something today.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Here in the marina?
Yes.
Till the breeze kicks in.
Yep.
It's not going to blow that hard. It looks like a pretty constant 12 knots. We'll tell you about that when we get into the Sail GP report. It looks like a pretty steady 12 knots all week. Julia, we got a nice note. You know who that is?
Yes.
Patrick DeBarros. It's there in the slide. Patrick sent us a really nice note this morning. Dear Tom, congratulations on the occasion of the 500th edition. He was watching it in replay a couple days ago. 500th edition of your program. You have done a great job and been a strong defender of the basic principles of our sport. Well done. Un abrazo, Patrick.
How nice.
And that was really nice. This is that book he has sent us in the past. And if a life sailing against the wind, and it's a fabulous book about Patrick's career in sailing. I mean, he's not a professional sailor. He's an oil guy and a banker and a business guy. But he's done a lot for our sport, not only in Portugal, where he's from whence he is, but also at the world sailing level and in the class associations of Tell Me What, the Dragon class and several others. Patrick DeBarros, thank you for that nice note that came in just before we went to air. Our FOSI, Patrick DeBarros from Portugal. Julie, you know what day it is today?
Water Day.
World Water Day. It's held on the 22nd of March every year since '93. It's another one of these UNESCO days. Focuses on the importance of fresh water. World Water Day celebrates water and raises awareness of the 2.2, they say, billion people living without access to safe
That's an incredible
water.
number.
It is. It seems high to me, but maybe they're trying to promote their International Water Day. But if it's even if it's a billion people, which I can imagine.
Yes.
It's sad. I have a little video from UNESCO. Have a look. Yeah, it seemed appropriate given our sport makes
And our climate.
ample use of the water, soft and hard. Clark Chapin saying, just because you're drinking and cooking water comes out of a pipe doesn't mean that it's safe. Yeah, he doesn't live in Flint, Michigan, but down US 23 a bit from Flint, Michigan, about an hour. He's in the west side of Detroit in a beautiful suburb called Plymouth, and they don't have the drinking water problems they did up there in Flint. Now, Mark Husted, I don't think we're going to get out on the water. I may, but we'll probably just hunker down in the grill room at the beloved and beautiful St. Francis Yacht Club with some of our friends and even some FOSI that may be in town. Stingray says one hears that over 99% of geothermal energy is below ground, too. Yeah, it's needless to say, the water table and so on. Bill Hines, it's National Goof Off Day as well. Joe Holtzman, a great sailor from my childhood years, grew up at our club in Michigan, is now in Estes, Colorado. Good afternoon from sunny Colorado. Morris Stevens, good afternoon all the way from sunny and cool Lunenburg County, Nova Scotia.
I've been there.
You have?
Yeah.
Well, you've been all over the place.
Yeah. I was there in June looking for sunny weather and it snowed.
I wonder who can ID your scarf first.
Well, somebody did.
Already? Who did? Dougal is a dead ringer for Bob Baffert, the Kentucky Derby horse trainer, Mark Thompson is saying. Tom Hansen's, who was with us as a guest a couple weeks ago, good day from Sail Last headquarters in Lauderdale. Hello, Tom. Yes, Wet Hog has ID'd it, right?
Yep.
America One scarf, Julia?
Yes.
Question mark. Yeah, that is the shards, the green and black shards of America One. We were drinking out of your America One mugs when we had our Irish coffee on
I know.
Friday.
I've got a lot of memorabilia from that era.
Now, speaking of memorabilia, we talking about hard water or soft water and now hard water. We were hoping to have Aaron Burry with us here today as our guest, live from Montana at the Hard Water Summit. However, sadly, that summit has been postponed
Oh.
And she is not in Montana, but we talked yesterday at some length, and she's got some exciting news career-wise that she's going to involve her in some more ice boating and actually softwater activity as well. I can't disclose to here yet, but when we hear more from her, we'll get Erin on the show talking not only about ice boating, but also about some softwater sailing with which she is now going to be involved in a cool new professional capacity. So Erin, we'll miss you, but hope to talk with you live on the show soon. Indeed, soon. Let's get to the starting line. I love this shot.
Mm-hmm.
The wing foilers here at St. Francis Yacht Club. Felipe Uncadella, I think, is originally from Miami. Took that picture when he was here for the wing foil, whatever regatta was going on. The starting line is this part of our show, and we always kick it off with Coach John Emmett, Master Mentor John Emmett, and his video submitted this morning.
Hi, Tom, Julia and all the FOSI. You've caught me straight out of the pub again on my little walk round Southampton Common. In fact, I think it's fair to say in the UK that spring has pretty much sprung. We actually sat outside today to have a few beers and a bit of food, and yeah, it seems strange to be talking about ice yachting, which sounds very cold. I actually dug out to try and find some photos of when I last went ice yachting, and it's scary to think this is probably, wow, 10 years ago now. Time certainly flies when you're having fun. And I think I just remember I was wearing my coaching gear for the time, because the main thing was trying to not only stay warm, but if I did have a bit of a crash, make sure that I was really well padded. And they actually asked me to do some coaching, which I always find intriguing, having not really done much of a sport before, but just to have a little bit of outside influence. But yeah, it looks like spring sprung. We're just coming to the end of the spring qualifiers. That's what the video's for. And again, you've caught me on a bit of a rest day. So have a great show, and I'll see you later on.
John Emmett, super coach, our master mentor. Some of you have used, somebody called him the master baiter. That's not correct. You waved your finger at me, Julia, wagged your finger when I called him that.
Yes, and it's now master debater.
Oh, master debater. That's pretty good. Scarborough, known as the queen of watering places, Pindar says, with its famed spa waters discovered in the 1700s by Mrs. Thomas Farrar. He wonders who John's videographer might be today. I think it probably was Lily. Spring has sprung, the grass is rising. I wonder where the birdies is. Well, that's here in the Northern Hemisphere. Still plenty of sailing in the Southern Hemisphere. We're going to feature a nice segment from Perth in a sec. Replying to Clark Chapman, yes, very difficult. Marks should be yellow or orange or red, not blue or green or black. Clean shaven and admiring the birds. Wet hog is asking. Well, there's a lot of other comments. You got to go back and read the comments, right, Julia?
Yes, indeed.
Thunder and lightning, tornado warnings from Houston this morning, Fishbeck is saying. Yeah, there's lots of cool comments. My mother is saying that chilly in Michigan, but spring is happening. Ruth's goats are kidding. Is that the term of art?
Yes, and I was...
when goats are having kids, it's called kidding? I didn't know.
And she has special names for the newborns, too, which I had never really heard.
Well,
The dolings and bucklings are the
dolings and bucklings must be the female and males
yeah,
of goats. I did not know that. You learn something new on this show every time.
absolutely.
Oh, lots of comments. I'm not going to read all of them. David James, they're talking about the war. We'll try not to talk about the war too much today. Spring has sprung, yep. But one never knows. Now, I want to know if in this video with John, did you, first of all, because he thought Aaron was going to be on the show, Aaron Burry, so he kindly made that nice reference in those pictures of himself out in ice boats. Did you see this? We'll see how observant people are, Julia.
Yes.
Did you see this on the back of the ice boat during that? It was very brief on the video.
No,
Sit down,
yeah.
shut up, hold tight, and start
praying.
Start praying. I thought that was hilarious. But did you see this in his video? I didn't see it the first time through. You see what's going on there in the background?
Yes.
There's some canoodling going on back there. I wonder, you go into a sports stadium today and they call it the kiss cam. And I wonder if these kids know that they're appearing on a worldwide webcast.
I wonder if their mothers know.
Oh, their mothers would probably be proud. Okay, well, I thought that.
I noticed that.
You did notice that?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if anybody else notices anything new here on our set. You can see it both in camera 3 and also in camera 2.
Mm-hmm.
See if anybody is observing. New camera, by the way, camera 2 camera. It's a little crispier, a little darker. I can tune it up a bit.
It's too crispy.
Too crispy? Shows our wrinkles.
Yes.
Well, that's why I put it on camera 2, not on camera 3 or camera 1.
I know.
Okay, Julie, let's carry on here and get into what is the big event of this coming weekend, and it's already going on here in San Francisco Bay. We look out on the bay live. That's, again, the webcam from St. Francis Yacht Club. They have two, one looking out into the marina in the back, and then one out here to the northwest toward Golden Gate Bridge. And we did see some Sail GP boats just before we went to air cutting across there, but there's not much breeze, as you can see. So we shall keep an eye on that. But back to the slides. This is and they pronounce it Mubadala with the accento on the second paragraph, Mubadala. And the Mubadala, I'm going to run a video on the Mubadala United States, that company, investment company from Abu Dhabi. And maybe that's how you remember it. Maybe that's why it's Mubadala. The United States Sail GP here in San Francisco, it returns this weekend. The racing is actually Saturday, Sunday for the final event of season 2 and the championship deciding grand finale. I'll play this video that we played for you on Friday just as a reminder of what it will look like.
It's the final event of the Sail GP season. It's all or nothing in San Francisco.
The big dogs in the prize fight.
With their eyes on the prize in the winner-takes-all final race.
Spitting on board the USA perfection.
8 teams going head-to-head in all-out action. Join us for the Mubadala United States Sail Grand Prix.
Well, I wonder if Jody's comment is if he's interviewed somebody from Sail GP. He's saying, G'day from Wanji down in Australia. Bring on Sail GP this weekend. Some more Bang in the Corners podcast for you all to enjoy. They're up to episode 3 or 4. I'm delighted to have his podcast airing now regularly, and it's great that you're doing that. This is the view from Marina Green, from the peninsula between the two yacht clubs. Actually, Marina Green technically is behind this area. And this is where you will be able to watch. I think there's a ticket cost to do this in the seats, but you can watch, as you can see these folks down front. And there'll be big screen TV. It's all being set up. It's a big mess in the parking lot there between the two clubs. That is St. Francis to the left. You really can't see it. But just to the off frame here to the left of that shot, and looking more or less west-northwest there. And then to the right is Golden Gate Yacht Club. Starting line is off to the right over toward Sausalito. And the boats will come blasting across on a starboard tack as the normal westerly breeze right at you in the grandstands. And then there's a mark right out front there that is the speed mark, they call it. And you turn that and then go downhill toward Alcatraz There's a mark down in front of Alcatraz, the old prison, the federal prison, in the middle of the bay, which is now a massive tourist attraction. And then they'll beat back upwind to the weather mark, and then another downwind to Alcatraz, and then back up to that speed mark, and then a left turn the mark to port, and come across to the finish line right in front of those grandstands. There is the map. And again, the grandstands, the village here that we were just showing you, starting over towards Sausalito and that side of the bay. But really, in the middle, you can see Alcatraz, which isn't even halfway across the bay. So it's on this southern half of the bay, the start across to the speed mark, down to the gate, the Alcatraz gate, and then they could beat back upwind because the wind's blowing from left to right, from west to east normally, and it looks like it will be all weekend. Through the windward gate, back down, then back up to the speed mark in another beat, and then a turn to the left and a speed reach across to the finish line. And that is the course for all 6 races this weekend. 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, starting at 2 p.m. local. Now, yesterday was a little excitement, and we have a video of that excitement courtesy of Yachts and Yachting Online.
We're going so fast to keep up with the boat. It's crazy. Thing flies.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Go.
I just let him on the boat and he crashed it. He was completely blown.
Yeah, that happened right out front here, Julia. And there was I was over at the bar at the yacht club for a minute last night in a meeting. Do you believe that?
No.
I was. I actually wasn't. And Stingray says, yeah, the wing didn't pop. That is true. There was a technical problem. Atkins is saying, Commodore Steve from Connecticut is saying, wish I were there. Emmett replying to Adrian Finglass above, but how long do the marks stay bright green before they become faded green? Yeah, marks, there's several commenting on how good the bright green color marks are, better than even, well, yellow or orange even, but the bright yellow is pretty good. Pindar is saying to us that I guess Alcatraz will feel like home. It's funny, these comments back and forth, Julia.
Yes.
Tiered de Jong's going to be here, so looking forward to seeing this on Sunday. Assume you're here, Tiered. Bright green is the best mark color. Sail GP, there's Aussies everywhere on a majority of the fleet. I'm going to ask you during Corrector Crutonic a controversial question that Mark, you as an Aussie may agree with or maybe not. Steve Atkins saying, yes, terrific grandstand views. The couple on the bench will be hoping their partners are watching this show. in that video. What the hell is a mubadala? I heard them pronounce it. Yeah, I'm going to run a video on that in a moment, see if there's any other comments here. The cinema has double seats in the back for canoodling. I just thought that was clever. Clark Chapin noticed what was going on here. He said the lamp. He noticed that your Himalayan salt lamp, which all the streamers, all the YouTubers use. But you know what that's really for? I've got a foot switch down here now, and I can turn that lamp on and off. You can maybe hear the click with my foot to tell Julia when the mics are on or off. So when that is off, the mics are. Now, when I switch it again, it means the mics are on and you can hear us. So give Julia some kind of a little bit of a hint.
I know. Before I make another error.
She doesn't. You've never ever said anything off color but Crutonic, but you never know. Joy Chiarella is checking in from Hawaii.
Yes, indeed.
And they're talking about mark colors again. Okay, so this is back to the story of Sail GP. They did collapse. They capsized, but they did not collapse yesterday. You can see the Spanish team there in the background. And they had a famous surfer on the boat with them, champion surfer Jamie O'Brien. He was on the chase boat, but they had Kai Lenny was aboard when this happened. The U.S. Sail GP team capsized yesterday on San Francisco Bay during a training session for this weekend's Sail GP season finale. The upcoming Mubadala, there I'm getting better at it, that's a typo, United States Sail Grand Prix, not my typo, theirs, March 26th to 27th. All athletes were safe and accounted for following the incident, with the team's F-50 catamaran sustaining minimal damage. Big wave surfing legend Kai Lenny, as we said, was also on board during the event. He saw the perplexed look on his, did you see the look on his face?
No.
Yeah, during that video. Oh my goodness.
Oh, is that he?
That was, yeah. He was,
I saw the perplexed
yeah.
face, but I didn't know who it was.
And then they added this other surfer on this. Jamie O'Brien was on nearby on the team's chase boat witnessing that. He's the one that said, I can't keep up with them. This is insane. There is the look as they were still capsized. They did right the boat and managed to sail back to shore with minimal damage, according to all reports. The culprit, as Stingray said, for the capsize was determined to be a systems issue on the F-50 that caused the wing sail to not invert properly when Spithill initiated a maneuver, causing the cutting-edge race boat to heel over and subsequently capsize right in front of Alcatraz. Well, not quite, but close enough. It was insane. We went so fast, said Lenny. I don't know if anyone really realizes, watching from land, just how intense it is on those boats.
I'm sure that's true.
It is. I think you're right. It's, it's like, remember when the Thunderbird came out in the Stingray back in the, tell me what, in the 60s?
Yeah.
And suddenly, instead of being up high above the ground, you were right down, and it seemed like you were going, twice the speed that you were in a car that was up off the ground a little bit.
Right.
In fact, there's some my mother's watching, she'll know there was a guy across the street who had one, some kind of a low slung car. And he said, I said, well, you got 2 meters on there. One was the speedometer and the other was the tachometer. And I didn't know what a tachometer was. He said, no, that's so one tells you how fast you're going. The other one tells you how fast it feels like you're going. It was the tachometer. He was pulling about probably 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
Crouton. Still no boats out on the bay, so we'll keep going on here with Sail GP. It was insane. We were so fast. There is so much going on. You're pulling 3 Gs of force from side to side. The boat is a living, breathing creature, and you can feel the vibration of it as you go through the wave chop and the gusts of wind. That whole experience was absolutely so fun, and just as I was getting used to running across the trampoline from side to side, we ended up capsizing. And I do not believe that the capsize was intentional. Sail GP, Russell has been known, Jimmy, to do some promotional sailing, shall we say, from time to time. But you remember that's how Team New Zealand almost capsized here in 2013 when they tacked and the wing didn't invert and the boat almost flipped.
Yeah.
So we carry on here. A couple more quotes. Kai was the perfect guy for a situation like this. Spithill said, actually, when I looked back at Kai to ask if he was all right, he was trying to adjust his GoPro to get the perfect shot.
I wonder if he did.
Following systems checks overnight, the team is expected to resume training. In fact, I think I've already seen them on the bay here earlier. In preparation, following system checks, the back racing training today, Tuesday, and prep for the season final this weekend, where they will be racing on San Francisco base. You can say it, Julia. Spectator-friendly race course just off Marina Green. It is
iconically beautiful and
reliably
windy.
You made that up, or did I?
I think you did.
The impression of speed is even more impressive when you are on an ice boat 9 inches off the ice at Mach 1. Well, not probably quite Mach 1, Blake. Monica Diaz is checking in from rainy Spain, whereas Andrew Pindar will say the rain stays mainly on Monica, who's not on the plane. She's down on the South Coast. My Stingray is saying, my Stingray is going too fast, even standing in the garage. Chris Bulger. Hi, Chris. Haven't seen you in a while. He's in Jamestown, Rhode Island, and lots of other comments. Jody Shields asking, will history repeat itself? USA capsize, then win the regatta. One thing is certain, an Aussie skipper will be holding the cup. Yeah, I think you're probably right, Jody, since all three of the likely final, two of the for sure finalists are Aussie, Tom Slingsby and Jimmy Smidhill, and if Nathan Outeridge on the Japanese boat, who's also Australian, makes it through, that will be the third of the three finalists will all be Australian. Aussies.
And not Kiwis.
Not Kiwis. Well, what's the greatest sailing nation in the world? I ask you, as I adjust Julia's camera ever so slightly.
Yes.
And they've done this pair up again. I love this. Each of the teams has paired up, twinned with a local yacht club. We could ID those Burgies for you, but it's not really necessary. But just the fact, and Team USA down the lower right is teamed up with St. Francis. Team New Zealand is teamed up with Golden Gate there. That's the second from the lower right. Cool stuff. SailGP's Adopt a Club program creates a bridge between the world-class athletes, their teams, and the local youth sailors to provide insights through tech tours, virtual discussions, and to create strong bonds with long-term connections to the sport. As part of this, it pairs local young sailors and club members with SailGP's world-class sailing teams to gain unique and valuable experience as part of their shore team. Young people have been selected through local sailing clubs, and they will gain training and career advice as they support the shore operation of the teams. The clubs in pairings are St. Francis with USA, Richmond with Australia, Golden Gate with New Zealand, TISC, Treasure Island Sailing Club with Japan, Careers Application, not sure what type of that is joining, I don't know what Careers Application, what club was that?
I don't know.
PYSF, Pacific Yacht Sailing, whatever that is, Foundation. Team France, Ensenal Yacht Club over in the East Bay, Denmark, and Sausalito Yacht Club across the bridge in Sausalito with Spain. Go back and look at those clubs again. Let's see what. There's the Peninsula Youth Sailing Foundation. That's down in the peninsula. That's terrific that they're involved.
Yeah, and that's a really active, nice group too.
And they do a lot of things down there at college sailing, high school sailing, and so on. So nice stuff. Yeah, I think there's somebody didn't fill that in. Oh no, PYSF. What's Careers Application? I wonder what that means. With the Brits. That's San Francisco. See, I'm back up there looking now. I see the Brits are teamed.
Yeah.
That's San Francisco Yacht Club's Burgee, so that's just a typo on their website or in their press release. Rushing around. Okay, again, we didn't do that. Now, you're asking about, Abad, I can't remember how to pronounce it. Abadullah. No, but here is a 1-minute video produced by that company about what they do, and they're headquartered in Abu Dhabi, but they are making investments around the world. Have a look.
How does a global investment company measure progress?
At Mubadala Investment Company, we invest in partnerships with innovative companies.
And sustainable and responsible businesses.
We recognize opportunities in emerging markets.
And make a positive impact in the local communities.
We build partnerships that grow stronger over time.
By exploring commercial interests.
And create value together.
So you see, at Mubadala Investment Company, that is how we measure progress.
She says that word very easily.
She does. That's how I learned by watching this video.
Yeah.
That's how I learned Mubadala. Mubadala. Okay. Well, we'll try. Nice video. And the racing going on this weekend. Lots of comments. Very cool. I was honored to run the Ensenal Yacht Club Youth Program during my first 6 years while he was coaching at Stanford, Blake Middleton is saying, when he was out here in California, NorCal. Chris Bulger, are we allowed to express gratitude on this show to Larry Ellison for funding the wholesale GP circuit for our entertainment? Yeah, Chris, of course we are.
Absolutely.
And moreover, I think we should recognize not only Larry's money, and it's his vision. He's always wanted to do something like this. but not just for our entertainment, but for what he's doing for the athletes. And he's doing the same thing in tennis. You know, he owns the Indian Wells Tennis Gardens down there in Indian Wells in SoCal, down by Palm Springs. And that's the 5th major in tennis. It's arguably more popular than the other 4 because the facility's so nice. It's after the Australian, you know, they come up here and it's beautiful weather down there. And bravo Zulu to Larry, right?
Absolutely. He invests a lot of himself in that.
And Russell, who's very creative and very clever, is, you know, putting Larry's money where his mouth has always been. And Ken Glidewell, our past Commodore, once removed now at St. Francis, terrific Commodore. He got a tough roll of the dice, didn't he, Julia? He got the COVID year. Well, the first of the 2 COVID years. Commodore Glidewell is saying, yep, thanks, Mr. Ellison. Mark Husted's got to go to bed. He's got to get up and make pastry early in the morning in Göteborg. I've got to go to bed soon. Can we cut to the chase on AC-37 and BCN? No, we can't. We've got to do it in order, Mark. They probably need to remove the Moscow bit in the footage. I saw that, Luca. And you know, it's still what it is. I'm sure they've got investments in Moscow as well. Spithill can only win if he throws Slingsby off his game. Yeah, probably right, Daniel Grun, who's in Augsburg in Germany. So Stingray is saying the Sail GP F50 with the most of their AC sailors on board is TNZ, plus their sailing coach starting now. Yeah, I see Ray Davies has become their coach for Sail GP, who's a longtime Kiwi America's Cup and coach and sailor, terrific sailor. Matthias Collins, you texted me something just before I went to air, and I didn't see it. I saw that you texted, but I didn't have a chance to read the text. The amount of red, blue, and white at Yacht Club Birchies is amazing. That's a good point. Well, especially in this country. I'm not sure that's true everywhere, but Sail GP promoted Kai Lenny more, a promo that Kai put on his Instagram. Probably a fun day out for him. Oh, so there's more, I guess, on there. Thanks, Matthias. Hannah Mills met with Kai too. Daniel Grun is saying, check. Yeah, there's a lot of social media. So that's all good stuff, Julia.
Yep.
Cool comments. Thank you. Jody is saying, there are those that talk about things and there are those that just do it. Go Sail GP. Cheers, Larry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I absolutely, bravo Zulu to Larry and to Russell and everybody involved in Sail GP. This is the last event of the 2021-2022 season. And then in May, the 2022/2023 season starts up. But wait, there's more. Here is the racing times here this weekend. And unlike some of the other events where they raced on Friday, Saturday, it is Saturday, Sunday here, 26th, 27th. Race times 2 to 3:30, 14 to 15:30, both days, with the race village open a couple hours before that and open a couple, 3 hours later than that. And then television coverage, CBS Sports Network in this country, which is a cable network, which I can't access on Xfinity. If you're an Xfinity Comcast customer, as am I, you can't see it. Julia, you have that up there on your
I do.
Satellite TV system up at the Commodore Suite.
I do.
But you can also watch it. I'm told it will not be geo-blocked here in the U.S., but if you are in the U.S., you can watch it delayed on Saturday at 3:30, and then live on Sunday at 2 o'clock at 1400. And that says PST, again, typos on their website. They obviously mean PD because we are on Pacific Daylight Time. Now, Saturday and Sunday at 1400 Pacific, which will be 2100 UTC, live on their Facebook app, Facebook, YouTube, and the Sail GP app. And I'm told it will not be geo-blocked here. And if it is geo-blocked, then you have to get a VPN and watch it as if you are in some other country, pretending to be, and tell me where. And then you can watch it on YouTube and Facebook. And you can get a VPN. Probably should have one anyway, just because you never know if you're doing international banking or something. But you can get a VPN trial for a month and then don't have to continue. I keep a VPN so that we can do watch parties. Replying, anyone else here? Outer Ridge say on camera in Australia while sailing Ben's boat. Wow, this boat is fast. Did he say that? They're talking about the America's Cup and Dalton visiting. Dalton's, you know where he is today, Julia?
In Malta?
No, he's in Malta. He's in Abu Dhabi. He's in Saudi Arabia. Rather.
Oh, he is.
And Bill Parker says, I'm really excited about SailGP coming to Chicago. Yes, that's going to be, the second stop in season 3. After they go to Bermuda, then they will go to Chicago, if memory serves. And it's a much better venue than New York, for sure. So that's great news. Okay, so that's the television setup. Any of you in the rest of the world, I'm pretty sure, can watch it live on Facebook, YouTube, and SailGP. I hope we can here, and if they geo-block you, just have to get a VPN. The weather forecast, when I checked before we went to air, this is not a fancy weather forecast, but it's really one that I watch, and it's quite accurate. You can see this is typical San Francisco weather, a high of 60 something and a low of around about 50, and that's the way it is for the rest of the week. It is a little sunnier and perhaps a little warmer today. And the wind, if you look all the way over there on the right, the wind looks quite good for the weekend. Racing 12 to 13. I mean, it's 13 basically the whole week. So I think that is quite good. Bodes well. Medium air and perhaps a little showery on Sunday. But, bring your foul weather gear if you're coming, if you're going to be sitting outdoors, because it could be a little wet. We're going to be in the grill room at the St. Francis, aren't we?
Yes.
You're looking askance at me.
I know. But, I was thinking about sitting in the rain.
Well, we'll get you a ride if you want to go out on the water. I'm sure we can get you a ride. What else is going on? Well, we got a video to remind you how this all works.
The Mubadala United States Sail Grand Prix in San Francisco is the grand final event of the SailGP season and must crown not only the winner of the event, but the winner of the championship. The event winner will be decided by 5 races, 3 on the first day and 2 on the second. After these races, the event winner is crowned, championship points are awarded, and the top 3 teams overall progress to the championship final race, a 3-way shootout for the season title. In the championship final race, it truly is all or nothing. Any of the 3 teams can walk away with the title, and a single mistake could cost everything.
They keep picking on Sir Ben for the problems he had. So that's it. It's 3 races Sunday, 2 more fleet races on, 3 races on Saturday, 2 more fleet races on Sunday, then the top 3 boats, who almost certainly will be the 3 Aussie skippers, meaning USA, Australia, and Japan. And it's Nathan Outeridge sailing for Japan mathematically could be eliminated by the Spanish, right? Are the Spanish in 4th place? I can't now remember. Tom has blamed that GBR capsized. I hope it doesn't rain during the races. The sailors will get wet, Jody. I'm so looking forward to watching. Have the DVR set up and ready to go. We'll look for seeing you both, sending me a big wave. Well, we'll be indoors. I'm pretty sure Joy's not out waving on TV. But we'll talk some more about all this on Friday. And maybe we'll have something special for you on Friday. We're working on that. This day in history, since this was a bit, we thought was to be a bit of a show on soft water and hard water, I picked this one out for this day in history. Do you know what happened, Julia, on this day in history? 22nd of March, 1894. Here's your first clue. You have a clue who that is? No one will. Maybe some of the guys in Minnesota would know who that is. Now, our friends up in Canada may recognize the gentleman, Sir Frederick Arthur Stanley, Lord Preston, Great Britain. He was also the 6th Governor General of Canada. Lord Stanley, he was known. And there
the Stanley Cup
is the Stanley Cup. Well done, Julia.
Yeah.
He was the one, he moved to Canada to be the Governor General, and he and his family had a couple teenage boys, and even his wife. They became so smitten with not only Canada, but ice hockey. The boys started playing. I think Lord Stanley started a team. The boys maybe started another team, and the rest, as they say, is history. And then for the grand sum of something like $40, that little bit of the cup at the top, Sort of like the America's Cup. Remember how the America's Cup started out small?
Right.
I think this thing was only about that tall.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started adding layers to the cake, as it were. And Lord Stanley's Cup was donated. And then this team won it on this day in 1894. The Stanley Cup was the creation of Sir Frederick Arthur Stanley, Lord of Preston, Lord Stanley, and the 16th Earl of Derby. Derby, thank you. You're right. It is Derby in Britanglish. Stanley was of noble birth, the son of a 3-time Prime Minister of England. He was a bit of a deal. He served in Britain's House of Commons until he was named Governor General of Canada in 1888. So this is, as the America's Cup was getting off the ground. Stanley became an ice hockey fan after watching an 1889 game at the Montreal Winter Carnival, which is a big deal, by the way. Stanley's family, sons and daughters alike, also became enraptured with a game that had taken Montreal's sporting public by storm since its introduction in 1875. In honor of the new sport, Lord Stanley then donated a lavish trophy to the Canadian Amateur Hockey Association. Originally, it was only to be presented to amateurs. And on this day in 1894, the first championship series for Lord Stanley's Cup was played in Montreal. The Stanley Cup has since been one of the most cherished and recognized trophies in all of sport. So on this day in history, Lord Stanley's Cup is won by the Montreal. And anybody know what the AAA stands for? Not the American Automobile Association or Alcoholics Anonymous.
I mean, athletic.
Close. The Amateur Athletic Association of, that's it, Montreal Amateur Athletic Association.
Yeah.
The AAA of Montreal, which was a hockey team. So bravo Zulu to Lord. And he spent all like $40, as I think I mentioned, for that trophy.
Good for him.
Which is, it's $1,000 in today's money, so it was real money. Now, that trophy, I go back to it for a sec. Maybe I back up the slides here. That trophy, there we go. That trophy, they started out adding layers. I've said this before on the show.
Yes.
The hockey buff that I am. They started adding layers to the trophy because not quite Tom, Dick, and Harry, but every player, manager, front office personnel, the names not just of the team that are on the yacht when they win the America's Cup, but senior serious people. They've got rules in the NHL, but senior serious people with the team, including off-ice personnel, names get engraved in the cup. And each year, that takes up basically a whole layer. It's so many people.
Right.
And what happens now is that and I don't remember in which order, but as one of the layers gets filled up, that layer, apparently, let's say it's this layer, then goes off to the America's Cup, to the Stanley Cup Hall of Fame as a layer, and then they put a new one on the bottom. So it's a living, breathing encyclopedia of the hockey world, the national hockey world. Now, the America's Cup's not quite the same, as you know, because we just keep adding bases to it. But then we're not putting all the personnel, just the name of the yacht, winning yacht, losing yacht, and deltas of the races involved. On this day in history, Lord Stanley's Cup was awarded for the first time in Montreal. And, we talk about this is before the modern Olympics, just a few years, 1894, so it was 2 years before the modern Olympics. And 50 years change after the first America's Cup. Bunch of comments. Man, oh man. Mm-hmm. Stanley Cup equals NHL Lombardo Trophy, NFL Larry O'Brien Trophy, NBA. I hope, thanks, Daniel Grun. Daniel Grun, as a German, is really expert on American contemporary politics and American contemporary. He sends me insight into American politics that's really quite astonishing. Did Stanley wear the cup? Gordon Smith says, well, the funny thing, we say that hockey players are really smart because we started wearing, in the NHL, hockey players started wearing protective cups, groin cups, in the 1910, in the early 1910, early 1900. Didn't start wearing a helmet till the 70s. we know what's important.
Yes, absolutely.
Protect the family jewels. Tampa Bay Lightning, 2-time defending champions, 3-time prime minister means that his party couldn't hold a majority, Clark Chapin is saying. And of course, Bill Wingrove is talking about his favorite team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, 2-time defending champs. Yep, and they look pretty good again this year. My 2 favorite cups, America's Cup and the Stanley Cup. Well, they're probably among the 2 most famous, certainly, trophies.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing pucking history, Stingrays. That's a finger wave, Julia. Bloody hell, Stingray. My mother would think that's funny, though. Bravo Zulu. We have to have a Bravo Zulu here. And this is, we don't normally cover local regattas, but I'm so pleased. I've never had anything to do with this organization, but it's like Sail Newport in Newport, Rhode Island, of which I'm proud to have helped found. But this organization came into its own after the Aussies won the Cup. Royal Perth Yacht Club won the Cup in 1983, and they have created what is called, you see up in the upper right corner, Swan River Sailing. And this time of year, it's the end of their season. And last Saturday, they hosted the Women's State, WA, Western Australia State Keelboat Championships. And it's a cool deal. They get all the clubs there in WA, in and around Perth, to race in this thing. No surprise. Everybody wants to race in it. And the Fremantle Sailing Club, of which I used to be a proud member when we were living down there leading up to the 86-87 Cup. I think they made any number of us that were living in Frio and East Frio members of the club so that we could go over there and party, and our kids, if they wanted to. We didn't have any kids then. But they won. My club, I'm no longer a member, of course, but Fremantle Sailing, unless you want to make me an honorary member, I'd be very pleased indeed. Fremantle Sailing Club wins the WA Women's State Keelboat Championships. 31st edition has been going on, and that happened on Saturday. Bravo Zulu to all 2, 4, 6 teams. And the top team there, Jessica Lund from the Fremantle Sailing Club, tossed out a 5th. Her throwout race was a 5th, as you can see, and otherwise had 1st and 2nds, and pretty well dominated the competition with her crew of Robin Martin, Tessa Parkinson, Kate Henderson, Monique DeVries, Kimbra Bridges, Caroline Bush, and their coach substitute, Caitlin Shaw. Bravo Zulu to them and to the Royal Perth Yacht Club and everybody else involved. It's Fremantle Sailing Club was the winner, but Swan River Sailing runs a lot of these events, and as do regional organizations around the world. This is become one of the top anywhere. They also on Sunday ran the Youth Championship, the WA Youth State Keelboat Championship, which was won by Royal Perth Yacht Club for the first time in 27 years. Imagine that.
Wow.
You know why that is?
Mm-mm.
I'm going to go out here on a limb, and you Aussies correct me, but it's because the Royal Freshwater Bay is the real hot young dinghy club. It's a little bit, well, I won't say it. It's a little less prestigious than the Royal Perth. It's a little less, Royal Perth is very fancy, and a couple of clubhouses. The Royal Freshwater Bay is where many of the regattas take place and a lot of the young kids sail. Correct me if I'm wrong, any of you down in Oz, but I think that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
So Bravo Zulu to these guys as well. This is a hotly contested thing. I don't know any of them, but Royal Perth Yacht Club to have won it for the first time in 27 years. Bravo Zulu,
Good
Lawson Macaulay, William Macaulay, Lachlan Hawkins, Juraj Janovic, and Ethan Macaulay. There must be 3 brothers there sailing on that team. Bravo Zulu. And Bravo Zulu to the Swan River Sailing organization. They not only run these regattas, they've got a college championship coming up. They've got corporate championships. It's really a cool community sailing center, and they've got a facility on the river.
And it has a great name and a great logo. Great
name, and they do corporate events. Here's one such corporate event. Located just 10 minutes from the CBD, the Central Business District in Perth, Swan River Sailing is an exciting and engaging option for company team-building activities and events, yada, yada, yada. But the point here is it's Andy Feathers is the CEO, is the Chief Executive Officer, is running it. Andy has over 20 years in professional sports industry and specializes in high-performing teams. Andy uses his most recent experience in the 34th America's Cup to engage participants, workshop with them, then head out on the water with a number of other high-profile instructors to allow the teams to put the skills that they have learned into practice. Bravo Zulu to Swan River Sailing and to everybody involved, including Mr. Andy Feathers, whom, of course, we do know. I did a beer can evening on a small keelboat out of Frio Yacht Club. Very nice folks. Circa 1987, I was living out of a backpack. Tom Fishbeck says, yep, what a terrific group.
That was a great time to do that, too.
Replay it to backpack, you mean?
Well, the circa 1987 in Frio would be great.
It was fabulous. And that's why everybody still says it was their favorite, if not the best America's Cup ever.
Yeah.
You know, you had 17 teams, 13 challengers, 4 defenders, and they were hosting a world-class event in WA for the first time, and it really did a bang-up job.
Can we take lessons from them?
Well, you would hope that, well, let's not say it. We'll get into that in a sec. You would think that Mr. Dalton and the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron would take a page out of the Royal Perth Yacht Club's book. Replying to Daniel Gurn, the pennant is for the league. Okay, they're back and forth about league championships. You never know what you're going to see. Replying to my mother, Ruth gets twice as much for ace as a buckling. They're talking about goats. Well, you would. Why not? Women are always more valuable.
Productive.
Well, productive, also more expensive, I think. Right?
Says he laughing. Oh, yes.
I'm laughing. That's okay. You all want to hear about the Cup and what we know and don't know about what's going on with the Cup. Well, as you've probably seen in the last 24 hours, Malaga has, and talk is cheap, frankly, but Malaga has put out releases, articles have been written, that they have formalized a 121 million Kiwi, still real money, bid to host the America's Cup. Well, they haven't formalized it. These are letters of intent. These are letters of the local government saying, yes, we think we can do this, but it's not a host city agreement. When a host city and ETNZ/RNZYS signs a host city agreement, then I'll believe we have a deal or even a done deal. And of course, that's what Ernesto Bertorelli did back in leading up to 07, back in 04. He went around at 60 cities bidding on it, and he was getting written host city agreements saying, here's the what do, what get proposition by us, meaning the host, the sailing teams and the yacht club, and here's what you'll do, signed on the dotted line, both by, well, our friend Patrick de Barros and the city officials in around Lisbon, Portugal, Cascais, and then also Valencia, Spain, the mayor and all of the regional governments. So they don't have this. This article about Malaga only says that they're getting ready to form, they said, oh yeah, we'll do this. Spanish City Malaga, this is Duncan Johnstone writing today. Spanish City Malaga has found the political and financial unity to formalize its bid to host the next America's Cup. Local media on Tuesday, New Zealand time, this came out yesterday, our time, reported that the 75 million euros offered to stage the 2024 regatta had been signed off by the Malaga City Council. They don't have the money, but they've signed off on an offer. It comes with the backing of the regional government in Andalusia, which controls the southern region of Spain, and also the body that supports cultural and sporting events. All true, but to our knowledge. And we'll come back. The bid includes work to upgrade Malaga's harbor to accommodate the America's Cup fleet. Spain is mounting an impressive late bid to host yachting's pinnacle event. Reports from Barcelona were optimistic of that city officially joining the shortlist. Cup defenders Team New Zealand and the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron are set to announce to host the host venue on March 31st. Cork and Ireland is in the mix, as you all know, along with Jeddah, which this week hosts the Saudi Arabia Formula One Grand Prix, they having been in Abu Dhabi last weekend. Team New Zealand boss Grant Dalton has been in Europe for the past 2 weeks as he gets firsthand looks at the respective venues and what is on offer. In the countdown to the crucial decision, he hopes will secure the financial future of his champion syndicate. The venue process is set against the unknown future of the wider region under an increasing threat of war. Threat of war? What do you call what's going on up there right now? Bloody hell, Duncan. The threat of war as the Russian invasion of the Ukraine escalates. I call it a war, not an escalation, not an incursion. That's Duncan Johnstone, our good friend, writing in stuff.co.nz. And we know that Mr. Dalton has been in in Barcelona, has been in Malaga, not in that order, and now is in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. One hears authoritatively.
And all the facilities will be complete and ready in 2 years.
Well, obviously not in Spain. And yeah, it's a big ask. Now, I'm going to tell you about what else is going on venue-wise in a sec, but let's first look at some nice video again from Ineos Britannia.
Parko is a really intense character. Is so motivated to win and be successful, and that really drives the team, again, on and off the water. In my opinion, he's the best flight controller stroke pilot, if you want to call him that, in the game, and we see that both in the Cup and in Sail GP. I think he can fly a boat closer to the edge than anyone else, and has that intensity to be able to do that and push himself and do the best job for the team.
Yep, there's some logos coming. I always leave their logos, and even if they have some sponsor logos, I like to leave them on. So, especially, I mean, everybody, but these guys are doing great videos, whether it's from their team or whether it's for their Sail GP team. Bravo Zulu to Ineos Britannia for all of their media production. And Sail GPs, too, for that matter.
Yeah.
So
yes, it's been really good.
It's been really good. Now, here is the latest from Team New Zealand about their... Okay, I don't know why I'm so down on this. I just feel like it's a huge distraction for the team, but if they're keeping people paid and motivated and stimulated for their land speed record attempt, and they don't hurt Glennie Ashby or anybody else, which I'm sure they won't do, but it is interesting what they're going through, and their videos are also interesting as they outline the Pilgrim's Progress here.
In the design process, when we're trying to determine just how we're going to build all of these parts, the build team plays a major role sitting around a table thrashing out just what the process will be. We can be a bit more focused where we push the tech, so the mast, the wing, the spar. If we make that heavy, it steals the riding moment, the stability that you need to generate power.
This here, we've got a bit of Prix here, which they'll be using this at Southerns on the rig for this land yacht. We'd usually use this because you get perfect resin ratios out of it. We're not using it in our manufacturing here of the hulls because we're trying to keep the costs down and keep it on a short timeline. So it's pretty easy to use, you know, it comes with plastic on both sides, pre-impregnated with resin, and it's not until it gets hot that the resin will flow, and it's almost like laying Duracell or something. It's a unidirectional fibre, so the fibre runs this way on a whole sheet, usually 500 wide, and then we'll just make up our cloth with that by 0s, 90s, 45s or whatnot.
In the main fuselage body, carbon composite was clearly the right choice for our objectives, and we opted to go for a wet laminate instead of pre-preg. We could afford to take a smaller weight hit to be able to save money and time.
What we've got here is our dry fibre, which we have been using typically on the land yacht for pretty much everything in the yard here. We have a pretty good indication of our resin to cloth ratio. The drier the better, because otherwise it just gets weaker, more resin. It moulds into shapes really nicely. It's just more user friendly, and it'd take a quarter of the time to lay up a shell out of this as it would pre-preg.
So when you're looking at wet laminate, within that you can infuse the carbon or you can hand laminate it and pull a vacuum over it. Using infusion is always really tempting when you're sitting around a table. It really is the devil in the detail, and having that large knowledge of how to carefully set up the whole process. We're trying to apply it to one-off parts, so you've got to be pretty good at it to get it right first time.
It's a bit of a dark art, infusion. It can go wrong, and it can seriously go wrong, but the processes that we've been working on over the last 15 years or so, we've got it pretty close to getting right every time. There's definitely benefits in having things infused. It is a heavier way of laminating. Something like this for the land speed record, where weight's not a massive issue, you can infuse a lot of these more complicated, heavier laminate parts.
It's nice to have a real depth of experience within our build team, so we can draw upon all forms of manufacture. We really can pick the process that best suits the part.
Yeah, I think there's some comments here that are instructive.
Daniel Gruen has one.
Well, about the venue?
Yeah.
Well, we'll come back to the venue in a sec, if I may. Jody is saying, is it he set up higher, is it a distraction or a deflection? And that's a good question. But, I'm coming around. Zero is how many shits I give about this, is what Hawk is saying. I think I'm coming around to the idea, and that video was I think, quite instructive, because they are learning about how to manufacture various bits and pieces, even more still than they have over all the years that they've been putting together carbon boats. So they probably are learning a lot. I think it is a bit of a distraction. I don't think it's a deflection. It's probably great for their marketing because they can show their sponsors, hey, we're still getting you on the air in the news. Sailing Illustrated is covering you on TFE Live. Ha ha, I get it. Weight is not a massive issue, Clark Chapin is saying. Yeah, that was an instructive comment, Clark. I agree. Likewise, the Hydrogen Project Stingray is saying, Mark Husted, replying to Jody Shields, I don't believe it's either. It's just an active learning curve of every aspect, even down to the build. Yeah, I'm coming around to that, Jody. I'm listening to all of you and reading these comments, and I think there is likely some truth to all of that. Fritz Muller's asking, has anyone else heard that the Italian cycling legend Mario Cipollini is signing with Prada as a cyclist cyclor? No, I had not heard that. That is an interesting comment. Tony Veal is saying it's filling an ice void and could create a positive drive, and they could learn things from it. ETNZ are in tech mode. I hope they have the venue at home, but they are in tech mode. Even if they race away from home, they are creative. Yes, indeed. The Hydrogen Project is sponsored by Toyota and the Land Speed Yacht by Racetimer Omega. Yes, so it is keeping, as I said. I agree. I think that's a good point. What else? Any other comments, Julia, I missed up above besides venue comments? We'll go back to those. Yeah, I want to go to the money because I agree with some of the comments here about the money in a sec, but let's okay. Daniel Gruen is strongly supportive of the event coming to Europe, and he doesn't.
He says
he argues with me all the time when I say otherwise. But let's get to the venue. I'm going now back to the venue one last time because I really think the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, as I said on that television clip the other day. Let me get back to that, Julie. I really think they need to. Need to hear that video again. I want to go back to the squadron. I was trying to check the water. There is. That looks like. Is that frozen up? It has frozen up. Okay, well, I'll try to get that running again because that's interesting to see if the Sail GP boats. Oh, I see. My computer's timed out. It needs caffeine.
Aha!
Sometimes I need caffeine too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still pretty light. I've got a live picture back there again, and it's still bloody light. I hope it's 2 o'clock. This is race time.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's more wind in the East Bay, but here in the Central Bay, I don't see anybody out there.
But it's also much warmer today than it will be.
Yeah, but that, if anything, should help the sea breeze. Anything.
Well,
if it's warmer inland, but we'll see. It's not that even. The forecast maybe is warmer locally, but the forecast for here in the Bay was only as high as 63, not 70 something.
Yeah.
So, this is the famously good Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron and the famously intimidated Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. It is time, as I said on that television show, and as Kim Pennell is saying, it's time for them to grow a pair and demand that this event be held back in New Zealand. Now, I have a letter that the Commodore, I think I told you on Friday's show, that the Commodore has sent out to the members. And I'm not going to run it because it's a private letter, but basically saying they've got, because of COVID, and maybe because of members leaving the club over this America's Cup venue issue, they're facing some financial challenges and they need support from the members financially. I don't know how else to put it than that. I'm not going to read the letter, but I have it. It was sent to me by several members who are bloody well concerned. But it is time for this club to grow a pair and to demand that the event come back. But one of the reasons they're not is because the club has been promised some millions of dollars from this largesse, from this sum that comes in from across the pond, at least across our pond. This is an article. This is not my writing. This is an article that showed up, Gerald New, on sailweb.co.uk, from whence we have quoted any number of times. And this article came out, yesterday. Emirates Team New Zealand, Gerald writes, ETNZ boss Grant Dalton walked into a maelstrom as he arrived in Europe to inspect the shortlisted venues for the defense of the 37th America's Cup. In the short time he has been in Europe, he must have realized that the attitude to the America's Cup is very different to that in New Zealand. Even before you add a Russian military invasion pounding a free democrat, I'm not sure how democratic it is, but a free democratic country into rubble with 3 million people already forced to flee across Europe. It's more than 3 million by now. It's a horrible situation, needless to say. The America's Cup has a very different status here in Europe. He's in the UK, Gerald New. Here to that which he is used to, Grant is used to in New Zealand. Unlike the New Zealand media, the press in Europe almost totally ignores the event. And where the next America's Cup ends up in Europe is not high on the news agenda, including the sports news agenda. But there's more. Even the Brits, who started the whole shebang by losing a race around the Isle of Wight, and after 170 years are no closer to winning than when they started, have little interest. The Brits, especially for the horse trading phase that is presently going on. In bold here, if you're not reading this with us. These factors are a problem for any potential venue involved in the bidding, as they cannot raise any enthusiasm from their governments to shell out for a commercial sailing race, especially one with teams backed by a bunch of billionaires who have more than enough spare cash to fund the whole affair if they wished. Not that New Zealand does not have its own economic and social problems as it recovers from COVID, the COVID pandemic lockdown, and politics and the America's Cup are never far apart in New Zealand. Well, true, but they're also, as you say, Gerald, they're quite favorable to the Cup. And although the America's Cup has been outmaneuvered and overtaken by the upstart Sail GP circuit and just about to stage its second 1 million final in San Francisco, and with 10 national teams expected to compete at 9 international venues next to this upcoming season 3, starting this May. The Old Mug still has a 170-year backstory and gravitas on its side, even if it is looking a bit tired. It is this backstory that some sailing commentators believe can pull in the money and the big corporate names to allow the America's Cup to reinvent itself. I think he's talking about Magnus the Magnificent. More responsible heads may wonder if Mr. Dalton shouldn't just make peace with his countrymen, pick up his ball, and head back home. Having come this far, possibly that's a step too far. It's easier to follow the money. That's Gerald New, Great Britain, writing on his website, fine website, sailweb.co.uk. Julia, you get first crack at that.
Oh, you know where I am in that. They don't have much time to decide.
Well, exactly. I would just wonder if it's going to get put off again. Because,
yeah, I mean, and then again.
Well, maybe he's just going to take the Saudi offer. And you know what? Okay, let me just say here, the other problem with this, Julia, is that if it's in Spain, whether it's Barcelona or Malaga, you know where that money's coming from? Qatar.
Oh yeah.
And you know, Qatar, in terms of human rights, and it's another dictatorship, it's another authoritarian, with human rights issues out the yin-yang. And now you're going to take Qatari money in Barcelona or Malaga so that you don't have to stage the event in Auckland. Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, it's time, to grow a pair. And Kim Pinnell's comment here is instructive. So the New Zealand government funding offer of cash in kind to TNZ amounted to 99 million New Zealand dollars, and the KHD, Kiwi Home Defense, offered another 40 million Kiwi to augment that. So if that was an option on the table, can't see how Malaga's offer of New Zealand 121 million being preferable. Just get the ego out of the way from TNZ, RNZYS just grow a pair, Kim Pinnell is saying, and sit around the same table with KHD. Kim, I think you're not only absolutely right, I don't even think you have to sit around the same table. I think Mr. Dunphy, he was just on the show again. I think he would say, look, we'll raise some money. We'll work behind the scenes. We'd like this, that, and the other thing that are probably minor concessions. But it's up to the squadron. It's their event. They're the ones who have got to tell Grant, look, this thing, we're not going to Saudi Arabia, because if it does, one hears New York Yacht Club is also going to court in New York.
Mm-hmm.
One hears that at least Sir Ted, this retired judge down there, and Jim Farmer are going to go to court in New Zealand. And I don't see what other offer they have on the table, that is Mr. Dalton and ETNZ and the RNZ, a viable offer other than Saudi Arabia. And if that goes to Saudi Arabia, all hell's going to break loose. I guarantee you. So tell me what the rest of you think. Daltz, Bill Wingrove, Daltz running with his panhandling show sort of tells a lot about where they are and their integrity lies. It's cheapening the cup instead of this reinvention into something greater. Daniel Grun disagrees. Any Auckland bid would need to be renegotiated. Dalton would not do this if KHD is involved. He would resign. Dalton demanded a due date by the end of this week for firm bid offers. The only one we know of is still from Auckland. Stingray is saying, yeah, I think there's a firm one in hand and has been for some time from Jeddah. So I hear. John Emmett, the West has turned a blind eye to authoritarian regimes for years now. They have been sleeping. The Ukraine situation did not start 20 or so days ago. It started February 2014 and even before. Yeah. And sadly, due to the might of the Russia military, he will most likely get some of what he wants, meaning Putin. Replying to John Emmett, really? I think this will take more time. Yeah, I think Mark's right. I think it's not going to happen anytime soon. The Russian military is obviously bogged down. They used that big hypersonic missile. Maybe that's not that big a deal. Lots of other comments here, Julia.
Yep.
And, other than Monica Diaz, I will be very happy with both Malaga and Team New Zealand. But I understand Kiwis deserve it. They won the cup and should be the natural venue. Oh, Brad Reed's on here. Let's see what Brad said. What did Brad say up above? Stingray's agreeing. The press in Europe totally ignores the event. It is absolutely right. Almost nobody there cares about it. Do you see a Brad Reed comment, Julia? What did he say?
I liked it better when the Team New Zealand used to use global events for training for sailors. They used to use the TPE 52 series, the Extreme Sailing Series, and of course the Volvo Ocean Race to keep their sailors up to speed between cup cycles.
Yeah, Brad, is that a comment with respect to the land sailing thing, or are you talking about the venue?
I think it'd be venue.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You might be talking about the land speed thing too. Well, I don't know what else to say here. Chris Bulger, I'd hire Dalton first if I wanted to win the cup. This discussion is underestimating him, which he is probably okay with. Yeah, that's a point. I agree with that, Chris. I would not. I'd want Grant Dalton to run the cup. I've argued, as you know, with Mr. Dunphy on here on this show about. I thought it was a big mistake when he said Mr. Dalton has to go. Gordon Smith, it's in the hands of the members of the RNZ. If only that was true. Yeah, Brad Reed is talking about land speed, Julia. He's saying, why don't you use other sailing events to train people rather than building land speed? They're keeping their sailors involved with Sail GP. Yeah, Daniel Gurn, that's a good point. Okay. We'll doubtless get more comments as we push forward. We're an hour and 20 minutes into that. Now, Brad Reed, nice to see you on. We got to get Brad Reed back on here now that their sailing season is well and truly underway in Newport. So this is, I've spared you all the train. Incorrect or correct. Now I have two things, one that's not sailing related and one that is sailing related. I'm going to ask you first with the slides. Did you see this slide when the Russian cosmonauts showed up in the space station in those uniforms? Is it correct that they purposely chose Ukrainian colors for their uniforms, or was it, as was asserted by a lot of press, did they purposely choose their uniforms to be the Ukrainian national colors, or was it just coincidental? Correct? Yes, they chose their colors. No, that's Crutonic. It was just fake news out of the war. Yeah, it's Ukraine colors, John Emmett. That's
Yes.
right. But was that done purposefully, as a lot of media outlets reported, or was it just coincidental and they had a lot of yellow cloth in their inventory as one of the
It depends on what they've been wearing all the time.
Emmett's saying it's correct. Blake Middleton's saying it's correct. They did it on purpose.
Yeah.
To make a statement. It was the colors of their universities.
Aha.
Is that true, Alan Long? Are they all from the same university? Maybe the University of Michigan. Or maybe Berkeley, Cal Berkeley here. Hard to tell. Usually the suits are chosen long before the launch. Yeah, I think Clark Chapin's right. If on purpose, it was awesome and brave move, but I guess you got to be brave to go to space. Yeah, good points. These are Julie Aaron says it's correct. Steve, I don't know, guys. I don't authoritatively know that whether it's correct or Crutonic, but it sure was. Sure got a lot of airplay here, at least in the U.S. I saw on Sky News in Australia, they covered it extensively. And Alan Long says it's what I read, that it was their university colors, I guess is what he means.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's correct or Crutonic, but it was pretty cool. Now, did the American, did he get brought back home, or is he still up in the space station and the Russians are not going to bring him back?
I haven't heard.
Stingray saying the yellow is to make them more visible when they're outside spacewalking. Well, they don't wear those suits in a spacewalk, Stingray, Crouton. There's Emmett. What's it say, John? Or Julie, you can click on that fact-checking thing that from Snopes. Not that I trust Snopes. Coincidence is what I read as well. That's what I think, Steve Gruber. I rather think it was coincidence. But John Emmett is saying the Russians, they will bring the U.S. guy back. Okay. Anything else, Lance? Yeah, I think they'd be in the gulag too, Clark, if they did that on purpose. So I rather doubt that it was on purpose, but it sure got a lot of play here. And, you know, in war, there's a lot of fake news, both sides. Now, I'm going to ask you this, because when I was going through this wholesale GP thing and realizing how many Australians are, and you can call Jimmy an American because he lives here and he's married to an American. He lives down in San Diego, has an American green card or maybe passport by now. At the end of the day, those three guys are born and bred in Australia. And Glenn Ashby, who is a central part of Team New Zealand's success in the Cup. And, you know, you can go on and on. To my mind, correct or Crutonic, Australia is the greatest sailing nation on the planet today. Correct or Crutonic? Yeah, the Brits win medals, but the Australians win medals too. The Kiwis have won the America's Cup, but they don't do very well so far, at least in Sail GP. You talk about the French winning in offshore racing, some Brits, some Americans, and so on. To my mind, tell me if I'm correct or Crutonic, I think the top sailing nation in the world today is Australia. And maybe we should be having on Sail GP an annual decision and some kind of an award for whom we all, you FOSI, who are very bright and well-connected, think is the top sailing nation in the world. What are the comments saying?
I have an answer on the Russian cosmonaut.
What's it say? This is the Snopes answer?
Yeah. It's a genuine photograph, dressed in yellow, blue and yellow. However, this appears to be more of a coincidence than a political display. These spacesuits were chosen months before Russia's attack on Ukraine in the early 2022.
Thank you. Thanks, John Emmett, for that. Thanks, Julia, for that. Now let's go to the comments. And let's see how many of these are Aussies. Team GB may disagree, Emmett is saying. Long Prix, Mary. Hey, Mary, down in SoCal, Balboa Yacht Club, one of my favorite people in the world, Mary Long Prix. Many, many years of awesome Aussie sailors. Yeah, I mean, they exactly right. Ted Ryman, who is a Brit but living in Cape Town, GBR are the best. Bulger says correct. Sternstein says correct. Don Lunabos hasn't taken a position, except he's probably drinking some wine up in Sonoma. The space program needs to stay independent of whatever is going on way down below. Stingray, it does, but it won't happen. Matthias Collins, only the Russians have the suit and others have normal clothing. They chose to wear it due to the... Oh, it is a hard coincidence they had the colors up there. Oh, that's interesting.
What was that?
Matthias Collins says they didn't have to wear those uniforms. They did it to show their solidarity and just, oh, well, we hit these with a uniform long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. If they wore similar suits a couple of years ago. Okay, Wet Hog, that seems to nail it. Julie Aaron's, no, they're about even. If you look only at Sail GP, the 3 final skippers, Aussies in front. I for one think Australia is the top sailing nation on the planet today. Who now do you think is going to win this weekend? Should we save that for Friday?
Yeah.
Fritz Mueller, it depends if you only consider the foiling era, Brazil in the mix too. Yeah, I'm talking about right now, here and now, Fritz. And okay, who have we not talked about here? You got Tommy Slingsby, who's in Sail GP, but he's also now the top foiling guy, at least in the Moth class. And it's just, the country is fabulous. And bravo Zulu to them. They're both great teams, Matthias Collins is saying. That's fair. That's fair. That brings us to the D block and Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. They're all clean, Julia.
Oh, well.
Except one.
Yes.
They're all clean except one. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. And if this isn't the truth, if you think you are smarter than the previous generation, and this I say to Meg, my 30-year-old, 29-year-old, soon-to-be 30-year-old kid, 50 years ago, the owner's manual of a car, Clark Chabin, we dedicate this to you, showed you how to adjust the valves, tune the carburetor, adjust, Today it warns you not to drink the battery acid, the contents of the battery.
God.
It's true. Think about all this stuff that you'd never warn somebody to don't do this at home when you see some crouton on a TikTok video doing something complete. Excuse me. That is, if that ain't the truth.
I think about that in relation to civics. Nobody of the current generation seems to know anything about civics.
So I see. I can't get my foot coordinated with your life. Well, civics, true, with contemporary life. Sailors, South America is against the odds or better. Matthias Collins. And Australia, what wins Sail GP? Thanks, Australian Mark Husted. Best Aussies foiling cat sailor is Glenn, and he is skipping GP. Yeah, well, he's terrific. He may be the best sailor on the planet, not Tom Slingsby. Slingsby is so very good, but Spithill the best starter. He also knows those waters best. Julius, I think that's probably right. Okay, back to Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. This is clean, but it's also apropos of the kids today. Oh, these kids. Is that a human? No, don't worry. It's a scarecrow. How can you tell? Oh. He's not looking at his phone. Julie, you are just as bad as all these millennials. You look at your phone. I mean, your phone, we turn it off and toss it away from you so that it won't ring during the show, and you get nervous.
You'd be surprised.
You get nervous when you don't have your phone within arm's reach.
I do, but I don't spend that much time on it. I get reports every day of how much time I spend.
Do you look at those reports?
Sure.
I don't, because I spent all day on mine.
I know, and I spent 7 minutes on my phone yesterday.
Well, how much time did you spend on your computer?
Not much more.
Oh, come on. 7 minutes?
Oh.
10 hours during the day.
No.
Okay. Well, I now turn the screens go to blue. I've got blue blocker glass. Do you have blue blocker glasses?
No.
Blue blocker glasses, and I think I am sleeping better having gone to all that stuff.
I did get them once. Didn't notice any difference, and so I didn't replace them.
But I read my papers on the phone. I look at websites on the phone. I look at the stock market on the phone. Email.
Yeah.
Whatever. But the kids today, they're running into telephone poles walking down the street because they got their head buried in their damn phone. It's unbelievable. Okay, here's the next one, Julia. That's from Steve Atkins. Thanks, Commodore, for sending that one along. Now, we've got this controversy here in the States of this.
Oh, yes.
I had to put this in because I'm fully supportive of gender rights and sexual rights and so on, and same-sex marriage and trans everything. Our FOSI, Karen Robertson's been on the show. She's a brilliant person. She's a great gal and really helped us understand that issue, I think, quite a lot better. But this idea of a man who's identifying as a woman, then not because he's trans, physiologically trans, competing in swimming and then winning, it's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing about our sport is that it's open. for the most part. We got men and women. We don't care if you're transitioning, trans, whatever, men, women, sail together. If you want to have an all-women's event, have an all-women's event, and be sure they are biological women, or they are women who have well and truly transitioned, or men who are well and truly transitioned to female gender status and so on. Not men who identify.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I think it's nuts.
It is.
What's this? This BBC did a return to dumb phones. There's a Bill Parker, there's been a trend for folks to return to dumb phones, but there was a trend for flip phones a while back. Don't count on it. I mean, I'm going to get a watch. I really think I'm going to get an Apple Watch. And just so I don't have to carry my phone around.
Right.
So that if somebody calls or there's an emergency, you have a problem over here and I'm over at the club,
Yeah.
Be careful. Don't oversimplify a complex issue. Leave that one to our national political. No, Clark. What a crouton, Clark. That's the most croutonic thing and I love Clark. You said the last people I want to leave it to is our national political parties. I want to discuss it here. I want you all to tell me if I'm wrong or tell us if it's right. But leaving it to the politicians is certainly dumb. Come on, Clark.
I think, isn't he saying that tongue in cheek?
No, he's not. He doesn't want to discuss it. Watch still needs your phone. No, Alex Ken, it doesn't. The new watch, the iPhone 7, and soon to be available iPhone 8, if it is a cell watch, like Julia's got a cell watch. She hold it up there to your camera. That's got a. In fact, did you turn it off before the show?
Yeah, I turned the sound off. Yeah.
Good, because you don't have to. Used to, a couple of versions ago, you used to have a phone with you.
Yep. You say call Tom's Eamon.
Well, no, it'll ring my phone, but my phone's off.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and Siri works on it, and right.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you get an account for it. No, you have to have an account. Yes, you have, but it doesn't cost much.
You share it. If you have a.
Yeah, but there are two kinds of watches. There's watches that have that just are, have a GPS and are Wi-Fi, and then there's watches with a cellular radio in them.
Mm-hmm.
As the same with iPads.
Yeah.
And your watch
cellular
is cellular, and you can
and
get it.
Wi-Fi.
It's a Dick Tracy watch. You don't have to. You called it that.
I know. From the minute it came out, I said I've always wanted one of those, and I have.
Do you mind wearing two watches? Show us your watches.
Yeah, no, I have a different problem. I have my iWatch is an appliance, and my other watch is a piece of jewelry.
Well, and it's too expensive to leave lying around. You go
I know.
You don't want anybody to steal that. By the way, you see Julia at the yacht club this weekend. Don't try to steal her watch. She's very tough. Okay, Clark is saying. He's saying it's too simplistic. It's not simplistic, Clark. That photo lacked it in background. I'm telling you what I said. Don't even answer your phone. If it's a person, Clark, let me just be perfectly clear, because I have nothing against transitioning, at least for adults. I don't like kids doing it. But if somebody is a male and identifies as a woman, and they're still a biological male, and they have not transitioned, they should not be competing in women's events. Full stop. And U.S. Sailing is doing croutonic things, other sports organizations, for wokeism and croutonic reasons. And that's, I think it's croutonic, whatever you think. Steve, let's get off that. As my brother-in-law pointed out to me, the Dick Tracy watch was technically a radio. Yep. That's the watch that plays the Steve Miller Band. Okay, we're to the finish line, thank God. And I just want to thank again our FOSI, Yerke Yarby, who's made the suggestion. More and more clubs apparently are doing this. We're starting to get some pictures sent in. If your club is doing it, please send us a photo. Put up the general recall flag to show some solidarity for our Ukrainian friends. And for that matter, Russian sailors who are, they're not the oligarchs, but the Russian sailors who are having their lives turned upside down by this as well, to say nothing of the poor people in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Ukraine. Okay. Fly your flag. Fly that flag at your club. The general recall, the first repeater, and encourage your clubs to do. I think it's a nice thing for our sport. Julia, you're witness.
Yes. Please like, follow, and share. Makes a great deal of difference to us.
It does, to everybody. Comments are welcome too, even in replay, as you all know. Many of you do watch it in replay. More people watch it in replay than live, but we love you both, everybody who's watching, because we never get any nasty comments. People are bright, smart, even if we have a disagreement. Clark is saying U.S. Sailing is revisiting their policy. Yes, they need to, because their policy was crotonic. Julie Aarons, trans folks should not compete in women's events with male hormones. Well, now you're starting to, Julie, now you're getting into an area that I don't know enough about. And I don't want to, as Clark says, we don't want to have that argument. What I know is that if I identify as a woman, just because I identify as a woman and I put on
I'd like to be,
and I put on a wig, I don't think such people should be allowed to sail a women's event. Likewise, a woman who identifies as a male should not be allowed to participate in male events. Maybe she's a gymnast, and she'd probably tear up men's gymnastics if it's a woman who identifies as a male. Same difference. I don't get it. But I do get your support, and thank you all very much. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. We appreciate that very much. Julia, last word.
A social psychologist once said to me, when there is more difference within sex than between sex, then the difference between them is meaningless.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're going to have a show on this topic at some point, because everybody's keen to talk. And
we're not going to solve it.
We're not going to, but it's still interesting to be well informed and take everybody else's views. I mean, Emmett has a view here. He's saying, replying to Julie Aarons, everyone has both male and female hormones. It is not binary. That's true. That's fair enough. But again, let's not go into it further. I think everyone agrees with that. We're in a state of violent agreement there. Yeah, Clark, thank you for that. Thanks for the excellent show. Carlos Aviz down in South America. It's nice to have you on. Good point, Julia Vetican. Clark is saying, and lots of comments coming. We'll look at your comments. Julie, you like to say, look at your comments.
Yes, it's almost more interesting to read the comments in reverse. I mean, after the show, because then you see them all in context, and there's some clever ones and some interesting ones, and 3 of them that you missed.
Well, I don't know if we missed any here, any important ones. We did reprise them now, but we're looking out on the water, and I don't see much breeze. A little more breeze than we saw last time we checked.
Yeah.
See a few white caps, so it must be, I don't know what the tide is, but
it's 2:30. Well, the wind will come up at 4.
Yeah, but the racing's at 2, so I hope we have some breeze in the future days. Julia, thank you again for all you do.
Thank you. You're the master.
I am just a simple country boy from Michigan, trying to put this show together a couple times a week, and we appreciate all the FOSI, whether you are watching live or in replay, and thanks for your support on Patreon. We hope to see you on Friday, same time, same channel, same channels, as we're now streaming this to 4 different channels. In the meantime, we hope you have a great rest of your week, and that if you can sail wherever in the world you are, you do it. Sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.